ulinzi ambapo shughuli hii inaendelea.
Inaugural visit to Germany as president. Today, it is my great privilege to reciprocate by warmly welcoming His Excellency the Chancellor. Karibu, willkommen. The rich historical ties between Kenya and Germany date back to 1963, when, upon our attainment of independence, Germany became the first state to recognize our newly born nation. That marked the beginning of a deep friendship that has grown stronger every passing year. Our common values and cooperation in diverse spheres of endeavor, including energy, climate action, agriculture, health, trade and investment, and education, have marked our bilateral development. My recent visit to Berlin in March and the Chancellor's return visit today have taken place at a time when our two countries are commemorating 60 years since the establishment of diplomatic relations. The Chancellor and I have had fruitful discussions, and we have exchanged views on the strategies and pathways through which we can deepen the excellent relations between our two countries. I have taken time to brief the Chancellor of the government's progress in improving the business environment, which has made Kenya significantly more attractive to German investors. I encourage the business delegation, which is here with us, which has accompanied the Chancellor, to explore and exploit the huge untapped investment opportunities in Kenya. I also invite them to take advantage of Kenya and Nairobi's natural geostrategic advantage and use our capital as the gateway and hub for their regional and continental investments. I assure the business delegation on behalf of the entire German business community that Kenya will support German investors with incentives to engage successfully in investment opportunities in our country. In our meeting, the Chancellor and I have agreed on a number of issues. The Chancellor and I have discussed in detail employment opportunities for professionals, skilled and semi-skilled Kenyans in Germany, a matter of equal great interest in meeting Germany's huge labor requirements. I have urged my good brother, Chancellor Scholz, to review and ease immigration laws, and I am very confident that they are well underway to enable Kenyans find employment in Germany. We have therefore agreed to establish a technical team from my office and the Office of the Foreign Affairs and Labor in both countries to initiate discussions, expeditiously navigate the procedures, and formulate an appropriate framework for the export of labor to Germany. The Chancellor and I also had the opportunity to exchange views on the best modalities of increasing capacity of our TVET institutions. Through German support, we have been able to engage and enhance training opportunities offered to Kenyan youth. Germany has also offered support to expand and upgrade our centers of excellence by increasing them from 3 to 7. Similar efforts will be extended to another 60 TVET institutions. To bridge the gap in language, we agreed to introduce teaching and learning of German in basic education institutions, TVETs and other institutions of higher learning, and Germany therefore has agreed to support us in seeing how we can train more teachers to assist in the German language. In addition, we agreed on the need to align as much as possible the Kenyan and German TVET curricula. In other discussions, we further agreed to establish a twinning institutions framework for pairing our TVET colleges with selected TVET colleges in Germany, and thus facilitate the anchoring of labor migration from Kenya to Germany upon graduation. Chancellor Scholz and I have also agreed to expedite the establishment of a framework for robust exchange programs between Kenyan and German MSMEs. As you are aware, MSMEs drive both the Kenyan and German economies. What we seek is synergy to enrich learning and grow the economy from the bottom up. Germany has agreed to enhance the capacity of the Financial Inclusion Fund, the Hustler Fund, to increase affordable and easy access to credit for unbanked MSMEs at the bottom of the economic pyramid. Kenya is Germany's most important trading partner in East Africa. However, the trade balance is in favor of Germany. I have therefore called on the Chancellor to review tariff barriers and to allow Kenyan products to enter the German as well as the European market. The Chancellor has been a big champion of assisting Kenya in concluding the economic partnership agreement between East Africa and the European Union. And Mr. Chancellor, I want to tell you, Kenya is eternally grateful for your personal intervention on this matter. Our grid is 92% green, and our commitment is to achieve 100% green energy by 2030. While our current grid is 3 gigawatts, the potential is huge, and our ambition is to make a quantum leap to 100 gigawatts by 2040. Germany has been a steadfast partner in our renewable energy journey, and I express my appreciation, Mr. Chancellor, for your reaffirmed commitment towards increasing the capacity of the Olkaria geothermal station and the general investment in our renewable energy space. On the existential climate crisis, we shared our concern of the effects of climate change on livelihoods, communities, and nations. We underscored the urgent need for concerted efforts to reverse the effects of climate change. In this regard, we agreed to work together in the search for solutions and deepen our collaboration in climate-resilient development and renewable energy, including production of green hydrogen and sustainable agriculture, including production of green fertilizers. Additionally, I emphasized the need to move beyond the debate on adaptation and loss and damage, and to engage in a candid conversation on climate finance and investment, which would unlock our potential for green growth. Equally, the current international financial system is inadequate in dealing fairly with multifaceted global crises, including recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic, the climate emergency, and the debt crisis in the global south. I therefore urge the Chancellor to support the reform of the international financial system. This system must recognize our potential and ensure a win-win outcome, providing access to affordable, adequate, and sustainable financing that is delivered in a timely manner. As part of our effort to establish a common African position on climate change, at COP28, Kenya will host the Africa Climate Action Summit between the dates of the 4th and 6th of September this year. I am pleased to inform you that as a friend and partner, Germany has committed to support the summit with a financial contribution and with technical support. And Kenya has also confirmed its official joining of the Climate Club initiative, which calls for the expeditious implementation of the Paris Agreement at the invitation of Germany. Your Excellency, Kenya now formally joins the Climate Club at your invitation, and we intend to be a robust player in that space. We also had an opportunity to discuss regional peace and security and shared our concerns regarding the unfortunate events in Sudan and their spillover effects to the region. We agreed on the immediate need for unconditional cessation of hostilities and humanitarian aid access and protection of civilians. We underscored the need for the international community to support Kenya, IGAD, and the African Union in the ongoing efforts to resolve that conflict. I urged Chancellor Scholz to use his voice and Germany's influence in various platforms, including the EU, the G7, G20, and the UN, to focus global attention on the forgotten conflicts in Africa in general and especially in the Horn of Africa. On Ukraine, Kenya has consistently underscored the principles of United Nations Charter, which calls for respect for territorial integrity, sovereignty, independence, and a peaceful resolution of disputes. We have also repeatedly called for the end to the conflict and a return to the path of peaceful resolution through dialogue. To strengthen and solidify our relations between our two countries, we have agreed to explore a new phase that will be anchored on a strategic bilateral partnership framework. I wish to thank Chancellor Scholz for engaging candidly in the spirit of goodwill and commitment to enhance mutual benefits. I also take this opportunity to once again express our collective appreciation of his very warm visit. Finally, I affirm Kenya's commitment to deepen and strengthen relations with Germany and look forward to many more engagements in future. I thank you.
Thank you very much for the warm welcome you have given me, Mr. President. I'm delighted to be in Kenya today. Only a few weeks ago, we met in Berlin, and we talked about how we can further develop our relations. This is now my first official visit to Kenya, and it happens in a very special year. Kenya is celebrating its 60 years of independence, and the Federal Republic of Germany was the first country to officially recognize the Republic of Kenya in 1963. This is why we are also celebrating 60 years of diplomatic relations this year. 60 years of diplomatic relations that have marked close ties and a good friendship and are the basis for what we have embarked on for the future. In these 6 decades, we have developed our bilateral ties. We have worked together in multilateral fora, but especially important is that we have moved forward the friendship between our two societies, and we have made sure that our relations are truly based on a spirit of partnership. This is why it is right that we now give a more strategic framework to our partnership. Our companies are well intertwined. This is also reflected in my business delegation that is accompanying me on this visit. I am also delighted about the close cooperation in economic issues that is reflected in many topics we have discussed today that you mentioned, but that are also linked to the willingness, your willingness to work with us in the framework of the Compact with Africa, because it is an important topic for us. It facilitates trade, it facilitates investment by companies. And we also are talking about the question of protecting our environment and fighting man-made climate change. we are united in our ambitions, and I would like to explicitly say that Kenya truly has made substantial progress, is a true leader compared to many other countries in the world. So I am absolutely delighted about your willingness to become a member of the International Climate Club. This is an important step, because if we are to reach our ambitious goals to stop climate change, it will only succeed if we work together and make sure simultaneously that we are doing this together, and that our different pathways that we have will be in context, will be related, and will lead to the same goal. In March, you participated in the Berlin Energy Transition Dialogue in Berlin. You have highlighted once again the important role of Kenya in the fight against climate change. Thank you very much for that. These are really topics that unite us, and it's not a coincidence that I will be visiting the geothermal power plant in Naivasha. As I was told, it's the biggest of its kind in Africa. And this illustrates once more that Kenya is a truly inspiring climate champion. More than 90% of Kenya's electricity already comes from renewable energy sources, and by 2030 you are to reach 100%. This is truly impressive, and it is also one reason why Kenya has such appeal both in Africa and beyond. Last year, we have agreed to establish a climate and development partnership in which we step up our cooperation in the areas of renewable energies, hydrogen, and drought resilience in agriculture. We will also make additional funds available for that purpose. I am impressed by Kenya's preparations for hosting the Africa Climate Action Summit, a summit you will be hosting, and Germany will be supporting Kenya with our technical means and also financially. The conference highlights Kenya's leading role in climate action, and it is also an event that will lead the way up to COP28, a truly remarkable and important event. There is also potential for enhanced cooperation in the field of labor migration. Germany wants to offer more legal pathways for migration for those who wish to work in Germany, and at the same time, we aim to reduce illegal migration. This is a win-win situation for all countries involved. We see a great potential for orderly, skilled labor migration from Kenya in many fields of our economy. Kenya is a solid democracy. This is why your country is a stabilizing actor in a truly troubled region. We very much appreciate what Kenya has achieved in terms of mediation efforts in the last year, and also in the current situation. It is continuing to show in many ways in its region that it is committed. This is especially true with regard to the situation in Sudan, that is, of course, very concerning to us and many others. Many Sudanese people have taken to the streets over the last years, risking their lives. They have stood up for democracy and freedom, for a transition moving from military structures to a civilian structure. So the army and the RSF must end their military struggle for power, which happens to the detriment to the people of the country, which leads to violence and destruction. There needs to be a transmission to a civilian government, and we are grateful for Kenya's commitment in this regard. Let me highlight it once more. We will do everything we can also to support the initiatives that have been taken. And also elsewhere, Kenya is committed. I said it before, in Somalia, Ethiopia, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. These are indispensable efforts of support that we greatly appreciate and that we're happy to support. I am deeply convinced that initiatives for peace and stability in Africa, led by African states themselves, will only gain in importance. They are very relevant. And just as Kenya, we count on developing a multilateral world in which nobody tries to shift borders, in which the rules of international order are accepted on the basis of the United Nations Charter and the international law. This is why it is very important for us and so significant that we raise our voices when international law is breached. And the Russian aggression against Ukraine is a breach of the international peace order and a threat to peace and freedom, not only in Europe, but across the globe, because it means that borders might be shifted with the use of violence, but this would lead to a world that is more insecure. So we need to insist that things have to be done differently. We want to help strengthening our cooperation, move forward with global governance, and of course it is also important for us that African states are better represented and are given a stronger voice. Germany therefore supports the efforts for permanent African seats on the United Nations Security Council, and we also support a formal seat for the African Union within the G20. Thank you very much. Thank you for welcoming me with such warmth in Nairobi, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing you soon again.
Who is leading?
Hier ist Eckhard Lohse, Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung.
Eckhard Lohse, Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung, Berlin.
To the President, one to the Chancellor. Mr. President, you mentioned already the easier access from qualified people from Kenya or other countries to the German labor market. Germany is negotiating agreements that, on the one hand side, will make it easier the access to Germany. On the other hand side, once those countries where asylum seekers come from with no perspective to stay in Germany should take these asylum seekers back. Is this going to work? Und eine Frage an Sie, Herr Bundeskanzler.
And one question to the Chancellor. How big is the threat that the conflict in Sudan might spill over and lead to new migration movements towards Europe and Germany? Thank you.
Thank you very much. As a country, we believe in the rule of law. And whatever Germany is doing to put together a legal regime that allows legal immigrants, people of good standing, to access opportunities for employment in Germany is a very welcome development for us in Kenya. We do not find that there is a contradiction at all in demanding that those who are illegal, those who are not good, should be repatriated to wherever they came from. And therefore, our position, and we have discussed this with the Chancellor, is that while you open opportunities for Kenyans to work in Germany, and Chancellor was gracious enough to tell me that there is an opportunity for close to 250,000 people to work in Germany from different countries. We would value that opening, but we would also undertake that any persons from Kenya who do not measure up to good standing and are against the law in